And here's how it goes. So to begin with, I want to teach you about the duotone and tritone effects. To do this, I'm going to initially remove all the color from this image. To remove the color from this image, I don't just want to make a random guess. You should know that if I go Command U and take all the saturation out of the color, that is one way I could remove all the color. I've now removed all color from this image, but that may not be my best choice. Personally, I think I might be able to get a better black and white choice if I do this another way. So I'm going to click Cancel, and then I'm going to go to Image, and I'm going to choose Adjustments, and then black and white. Oddly, although there was the initial default adjustment that you could set, you could also do a completely custom adjustment to your black and white. Doing this entails either picking from a preset, such as maximum white, clearly not the same as just removing all the saturation, or another choice such as infrared, as if you shot this with an infrared camera, or in any other of these things such as mimicking a filter. But I'm going to put this back on default. Now what I'm going to do is, as you can see, we have a wide range of values, hue values afforded to us. And if you start sliding these sliders, you can see that you can increase or decrease the highlight and shadow detail on a per color basis where it existed before in the image. So there's a lot of cyan in this, and if I crank this way, I'm going to turn the cyan black, but if I go towards the middle here, I might get more tonalities in my cyan than I had before. Does that make sense? Yes? Nod. You don't have to say yes, but like move your head like you're still here. Okay, great. I know it's hard. You guys are amazing to be able to do this every week after work. It's really hard, so I'm very amazed by you. So here again, there's a lot of blue, and maybe I want to like just intensify that a little bit. And what else? There's a lot of black in her bathing suit, which I actually don't remember what color that was. So that's sad for me, but that looks black. Her black bathing suit looks black. So here, I'm a little bit stuck here because it's going to be kind of difficult for me to get that not black. The only way I'm really going to get that not black is to go to levels again. So I'm going to click OK because it's fabulous and I love it. Click, and now Command L for levels. And here, where black is, I'll tell it to be not so black. So I'm opening up the black a little bit. And if I keep going, you can see that's way too much, but that is how I could make the blacks less black. And therefore be adaptable to take some more color when I start changing these values. So I'm happy with that, and I'm going to click OK. And if I do undo, you can see the difference between my two choices there, before I went to levels and after I went to levels, before and after. It is definitely lighter. Okay, so now I have gone to image adjustments and picked my default and played around with my settings to get more lighter grays overall in the image. And then I went to levels and poked it a little bit more. Now this image is currently still, believe it or not, if you look at mode, RGB. This is still considered a color image, even though there's no visual color in it, and it also still contains the color channels, and therefore, by virtue of that, it still is considered to be an RGB image. Okay. And at this point, the red, green, and blue are all the same, but it's still RGB. To do this thing called duotone, I need to do something. I need to go to mode, and I need to change this from RGB to grayscale. I have to do that first. Image mode, grayscale. And now it's going to say changing modes can affect the appearance of layers flat in the image before mode change. It's really fine. There is a layer because I pasted it, and yes, it can flatten it. It's not going to look any different. So now it's throwing away. Discard color information? Yes. There's now essentially no color information in it. It is now gray. Okay? Now this is truly a grayscale image. I could not save this and upload it as such. If I upload it onto a web page. If I wanted this to be on a page in black and white, I would still have to save this as a JPEG or a PNG, which is an RGB format. So it would go back to being a color mode. But that's not really the point. The point is now I'm going to do the other thing. And the thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go to image mode, and now you notice there is a choice here that wasn't available before called Duotone. This is currently using it's a monotone image or a monochromatic image using black-ish and white. But if I go to Duotone, it creates, this is however I left it last time I was working. I'm going to put this back on monotone. And I'm going to tell this to not be blue, but to be black. And it's got a name here saying brown, which is a lie. I'm going to change that to black. Now, Photoshop does not know that that color wasn't blue. It's whatever name you put here. I could have called this Miranda, and it would think, it was fine. I could have called it Licorice Whips. It wouldn't care. Shoelaces. It doesn't care. But what I do want to do is show you what happens now when I change this color from black to another color. So if I change this to this middle blue, now it's monotone again, but it's all blue. And it appears to be a colorized image. The darkest or blackest color before is now this color blue at its most intense spot. It's a pretty cool thing. All right, I'm going to pause there and let you get an image if you don't have one right now. All right, so if I'm at duotone, there's two color. If I'm at monotone, it's back to one color. And if I go back to duotone, it's going to think this is white until I tell it to be something else. It's going to blend those colors together, and I want something a little more dynamic. I need to name this orange, or whatever the name is that you want to give that color. And now I'm going to start doing some crazy things here. For ink 2, I'm going to click on, this is called the curve, this line. And where there was 50% orange, I'm going to put 0. Seems wrong, but it's not. Where there's 95%, I'm going to put 100. And where there's 90%, I'm going to put 100. And where there's 80%, I'm going to put 100. And where there's 70, I'm going to put 0. And 60, 0. And all these other values, I'm going to put 0 in. Okay.
What are these values?
The amount of orange. So, at 70, I'll change that to 100. And now I'm getting more of a split ramp color. And you can see that I have 0 in all the values, up to and including 60 and 100 in all the values, from 70 to 100. You can do different combinations, but this is just to give you an idea of how this effect works. So from 70 to 100, I have 100, and from 0 to 60, I have 0. And now if I go to ink 1, which is my blue color, and I put at 50, I'm going to leave it at 50. But now I've dialed that in. And at 60, I'm going to put that at 0. And 70 is going to be 0. And 80 is 0. And 90 is 0. And 95 is 0. And 100 is 0. And at 40, I'm going to put 40. And at 30, I'm going to put 30. And at 20, I'm going to put 20. And at 10, I'm going to put 10.
just know?
No, I just was born like this. I just have spent an inordinate amount of time working with tools, and most of my friends are graphic designers or just people who like to study a lot. So I hang around with people who like to sit around and do stuff. I've just spent a lot of freaking time doing it. That's really the main thing. So that's kind of where I was headed for. That sort of looks right to me. Bumped up my 60 to 70. If I put that back on 60, it's pretty close. That looks pretty good. 60 is 60 now. I kind of just wanted to know how to do it. I think I mentioned a couple of weeks ago getting the Photoshop Wow books. I've also been underemployed several times in my life. That's another really good time to work really hard on your skills when you're underemployed. Just keep growing. So this pretty much did what I wanted it to do, which is I split the colors up between the blue and the orange. And you can see here, this is the blue ramp, 15, 20, 30, and I kind of bumped these up. And then this is the orange ramp. So they're almost inverted, not exactly inverted, but that's the general idea. Is where there's no blue, there's orange, and where there's no orange, there's blue. So if I wanted there to be less orange, I could change this down here. I could make this 40, and that pulled out a lot of the orange. And then I could go back over to the blue, and here, oops, I forgot to click on the ramp, and here I'll increase this from 40 back to 70. And this is a very good illustration of what the value of a color is, the value, numeric value or percentage of a color, and you are customizing or repositioning or reassigning the color value to a value of your choice when doing this. Kids love this. When you're happy with it, you can click OK. And now you have learned how to use the Duotone system to make a split ramp effect. Reassigning values to specific values of colors of your choice.